Very pleased to be joined now by Ian Thornley, frontman for Big Wreck. And you are, of course, out on the road
Indeed.
touring your latest release, your fifth full-length studio album titled
Yep.
Grace Street.
Yep.
Talk about the tour so far and the new album.
We're 5 shows in. This will be our 6th, I believe. Just sort of getting into the rhythm of being on tour, and certainly being on tour in the winter. Trying to steal naps where you can, and trying to eat when you can, shower when you can. That whole thing, you sort of take those things for granted when you're home. But yeah, no, the shows have been great.
How do you personally feel when you release a new album? Is it a feeling of pride or
Yeah.
nervousness that people are going to accept it?
Yeah, a bit. Well, both. Yeah, both of those things. Yeah, I'm really proud of this record. I sort of get once the records come back to me and the mixes are all okay, and we've got the sequence down, and I just listen to it from top to bottom. And if it does what I set out for it to do, then I've succeeded. So a lot of that sort of takes a lot of the pressure off of not like, well, of course I hope people like it, but whether or not we're going to sell tons of copies, it's not really about that for me anymore. I mean, nobody really sells records anymore anyway, but I think measuring your success off of the sales, I think, is kind of it kind of defeats the art part of it, So yeah, and then of course there's a little bit of jitters. Like, I'm hoping that people like it. There's a lot of different stuff on this record. It's not, we sort of stretched into some different areas.
I want to talk to you about the song, that song.
Mm-hmm.
In that song, you refer to feeling nostalgic whenever you randomly hear that song.
Yeah.
And now the funny thing that's happened over time is people are feeling nostalgic when they hear that song.
Yeah.
How do you feel about people feeling nostalgic about that song?
Well, that's great. I mean, I was talking about that with Dave this morning. It was like, which we inevitably do. You start searching around the socials in the morning. It's like, what did people put up from last night's? And they're still putting up that song. I'm like, really? Everybody pulls out their phones when that song comes up. And I was like, well, what if we just didn't play it? Because there's so much other music to choose from. But I'm just like, that was a silly comment, because it's like I would be pissed off if I went to go see Us and we didn't play that song. I'd feel a little ripped off.
When you were writing it, did you ever could you have ever?
No, I was just putting together things that I like the sound of,
Yeah.
as most musicians are. I'm gonna write a song that's gonna be but it's always great. The audience sings along, and yeah, it's kind of turned into its own little thing, and that's a lovely thing. It still gives me pause when I hear the audience just sort of take over. It's like, man, that's a pretty powerful moment, It's a good feeling.
All right. Well, Ian Thornley, thanks so much for taking time out.
Cheers, man. Thanks for having me.